Welcome, everybody. Thanks for joining me as we take a look at your weekend forecast for October 13th through the 15th. And weekend's looking okay, not looking that bad in terms of rain, not amazing in terms of the sunshine that we're going to get. And it's going to be a kind of a fall feel to the weekend, but kind of the good last fall foliage weekend for some of the higher elevations. There's still some decent color. We're definitely at the past peak phase of the fall foliage, but still pretty nice out there. For lower elevations, pretty close to peak for this weekend still, so pretty good overall. Here is a system that looked like it might give us some issues. It is going to sink to our south. We're going to talk about why that's going to happen. But right now, pretty well developed system here over the upper Midwest. And again, this is going to sink out to sea south of us. We have partially because of this low pressure system to our north and east, which has sort of been hanging around all week. It is the remnants actually of the storm that affected us last weekend, which kind of retrograded back and stuck around over northern Ontario or central Ontario for a lot of the week. That's headed to the east, and this system is not going to be able to kind of ride east and bring like a front through or anything like that as a result of that storm being where it is. And instead, the jet stream and the upper level pattern is such that it's going to sink out to our sea to our south and keep us rain free. We will get some clouds associated with it. If we take a look at it on radar, you can see it's a pretty decent amount of rain associated with this system. But you can also sort of see some of the telltale signs that let you know where it's going to be sinking out to the south. One, you can see on the eastern fringe of the precipitation, you kind of see how as the moisture is surging northward, it's also sort of the northern edge of it is also sort of evaporating, which is usually a good sign that the storm is not going to go further north and east as a surface reflection, kind of in the radar reflection. And again, this low pressure system here to our north and east, which has given us a lot of clouds over the last few days, a sprinkle or two this week, but basically just kept us kind of cloudy and has continued to kind of weaken in its influence and strength, but it's still there and it's still kind of impeding the overall pattern. And as we go to basically the jet stream level, this is a 250 millibar level, you can see what looks like how the jet stream looks. So here's our storm in the upper levels. You can see it's a little further west. That's usually what happens with the upper level storms. But basically we have the jet stream kind of with a ridge here, where the jet stream moves to the north, and then a bit of a trough where it dips back down to the south. But you can see there's a lot of all the energy in the jet stream, all this the tighter. These are lines of equal height, and the closer they are together, the faster, basically the tighter the pressure gradient is at that level of the atmosphere, and the tighter and the faster that means the wind is moving. So you can also see that in the colors here, obviously give you that as well. But basically, we have a pretty strong jet stream out ahead of the system, and it's pulling it east entirely. There's no big ridge offshore to kind of let it ride up. Instead, you have this low pressure system that's actually causing a trough along the eastern seaboard, which is why this is going to get kind of sucked out to sea due east as the upper level, and it's going to actually bring the surface low a little bit south and east as that happens. And so basically, I think rain north of the New York, New Jersey border, Pennsylvania border there is pretty unlikely. And certainly as you head up into southern Vermont, basically rain is not going to happen this weekend, but clouds will definitely occur from the system. So what does that look like in terms of an overall forecast? Basically a pretty consistent forecast throughout the weekend. Not a lot of sun, a few peaks of sun today, certainly, especially to start the day today. Today's probably the sunniest of the days, but again, more clouds than sun, I think, even today. Sunday, a few peaks of sun on the back end after the storm, but when it makes it closer to purchase on Saturday, I think we're basically cloudy the whole day. Overnight Friday, clouds, and then we do clear out overnights. Basically, as the system gets further away from us, we lose any heating of the day. That kind of gives more pop-up clouds and gives us a chance at some clearer skies overnight. But essentially, temperatures in the mid-50s basically all weekend, and overnight lows kind of where they've been, maybe a degree or two warmer. I was pretty chilly tonight, last night at my house. It got down to about 32 degrees. Definitely the chilliest night we've had so far this fall, although that will certainly be changing, obviously, as we head through October. Our low temperatures go down, and our high temperatures, for that matter, go down pretty significantly. All right, so in terms of what does that look like from an overall weekend highlight, dry weekend, lots of clouds from the storm to our south. Seasonable temperatures, probably the last good weekend for foliage. So like I said, get out there, enjoy that. There'll still be a little bit of color around for another week or two. Sometimes, the late leaves, but it gets real rusty, kind of brown as you go forward from here before we get to stick season. And we have to keep an eye on the storm to our south. Sorry, that's actually a holdover from when I gave this forecast on Wednesday. We don't need to keep an eye on the storm any longer. Forgot to change that graphic. No problem there. Don't keep an eye on the storm. It's going to our south. And it looks like we're the next system to approach us won't be for a bit. So should have some dry weather for a bit of a stretch here as well. It should get a little more sunny as we start next week. But to tell you that for sure, you'll have to come back in on Monday morning when I do my work week forecast. And so, like I said, this graphic is actually a holdover for Wednesday when I do my patrons forecast for them for the weekend. So if you're interested in that, you can take a look at the link in the description below of the patrons forecast. And I do want to give a quick shout out to my patrons. They help support what I do here at the West River Weather Guy. And let me pop up all of their names for you. I want to give a quick shout out to my patrons. They help support what I do here at the West River Weather Guy. And I will be back on Monday with a look at your work week.